It's the Bulls podcast number 62, and today we're covering Dalen Terry to the G League. Bulls drop the new City Edition jerseys. P.Will versus P.Wont continues. Oh, I hate when I hear myself. We're doing this again.
Let's do it. Gotta make it right.
Okay. Good. Here we go. Hi, everybody. It's the Bulls podcast number 62, and today we're covering Dalen Terry to the G League. Bulls drop the new City Edition jerseys. P.Will versus P.Wont continues. Our current state of the Bulls and predictions for the coming week.
Our Bulls podcast. Here are
This
your
is
hosts,
terrible.
Marcus Couch and Wise
Here we are.
Black.
All right. Welcome to the Bulls podcast, coming to you from bullspodcast.com. This is where we bring you the latest news, reviews, rants, rumors, and opinions on the players, coaches, and front office of the Chicago Bulls. My name is Marcus Couch, desperately trying to make this work. And with me once again is my friend on the other end, Mr. Wise Black. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. Doing well. Especially looking at the Chicago Bulls. I mean, I'll save it for when we get into the pod, but I mean, I'm not too mad, in terms of how I feel about the Bulls right now. So I'm good.
All right, good. So we got several topics, including Dalen Terry sent to the G League, Bulls dropping the new City Edition jerseys. As we said, P.Will versus P.Wont. We got predictions, and boy, we're getting close, Wise. Getting very close in our predictions these days. Let's get it kicked off and start to talk about some social stuff. So right now, hey, everybody on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, how you doing? This is the video edition of the Bulls podcast. This is where I'm going to encourage you to like and subscribe, since we don't typically do that kind of stuff. But we are trying to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube specifically. So please make sure you do that. And with that, let's get on with the show, Wise. We got a couple of quick news announcements going on. First off, let's get to the dancing elephant in the room. We got Dalen Terry headed to the G League. This is not really newsworthy. It is news, I guess you could say. But he has thus far only played 16 minutes total, put up 4 points, and committed 2 turnovers, including that last second embarrassment. So I do have a clip, Wise, right now to show you of Dalen Terry arriving in practice and playing with Hill and Marco. And here's that clip.
What?
The big three once again. Here we go.
Oh, man. Never ends with you, man.
I know. I had to throw Bosch.
That was good.
All right. So they're going to make up the big three of the Windy City Bulls. Did you happen to catch Joakim Noah's interview with JJ Redick at all?
Snippets of it. I haven't watched the full thing.
That he said Chris Bosch told him on the phone, "I'm going to be a Chicago Bull."
Wow.
Somehow he snaked out of that.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was looking at a little bit of that where Joakim Noah was talking about that whole little thing, just as far as them, the three Heatles coming to Chicago. And yeah, that was really sad, man. I really think that D Rose played a little bit in as to why they maybe didn't come. They wanted more ass kissing, and D Rose was just not gonna do that.
No, but he didn't want to do any of it. Okay, and Billy Donovan announced some progress with Lonzo Ball since our last show, that he's actually running underwater. I don't personally see that as progress. I had a pretty severe car accident, which I broke my leg, both lower bones in my leg, and I had surgery with a rod put in, which is a lot different than the smaller knee surgery that he had. And I was walking in the pool within 10 days and I couldn't even, and running, and I couldn't even walk without crutches. So walking underwater, running underwater, not that big of a thing. Plus I've seen him walking on the sidelines with no problem. So I'm guessing it's a little further along than that. What do you think, Wise?
Yeah, this is news to me. I didn't know that Billy Donovan suffered an injury, so this was obviously a weight
No.
thing.
Billy Donovan talking about Lonzo Ball.
Oh, Lonzo, I'm sorry, I blanked out there. But
That's
I mean,
okay.
so you're saying just as far as the activity that Lonzo Ball
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
doing
His
right now,
recovery.
he's doing some
He's
underwater
running in a
training,
pool.
and
Yeah.
I mean, phew, I'm optimistic. Everything that I've been hearing regarding Lonzo Ball and his recovery to this point, I mean, it sounds like he's moving along fairly nicely, just as well as I guess they would hope. And I mean, I really do hope that Lonzo Ball can get back at least once the new year is in. I mean, even a month into the new year at least, because I really think the Bulls are going to need him. I think they actually need him right now. But in terms of his progress, man, I mean, it's really up in the air, and we're continuously getting these little updates that really don't mean anything to me, actually, because I mean, we won't until I hear that he's playing in a practice, until I hear that he's actually
Right.
doing basketball activities. I mean, I'm trying to stay optimistic, but I'm not expecting anything really.
When you say need him, do you think is that a lack of IO or is that
A lack of
what do you think
shooting.
that
We
is?
need we
Yeah.
need his shooting more than anything right now because ironically enough, the Bulls are playing fairly decently on paper on the defensive end. I mean, they're fifth in the league right now in defensive rating. How? I have no clue watching them, but I mean, yeah.
Well, do you think Kobe White's absence has a lot to do with that too?
When it comes to our defense looking better,
No, shooting, the lacking of
oh,
shooting.
well, yeah, I mean, most definitely. Kobe White, I think he definitely was he was getting up more shots for us from deep. And I mean, just overall, right now we only have maybe three shooters on the team, and Dragic is a huge surprise to me. He's our best 3-point shooter right now, even better than Zach, which is blowing my mind. Vooch, he looks solid from deep. He's shooting 38% from deep so far on the year. And obviously, Zach LaVine, Io, he's calmed down in the last couple games. But yeah, man, we really need
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball back more so offensively, more than anything at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Ball movement,
All
shooting.
right. Well, on the business side, the Bulls have launched something else that you can buy. Hooray! It's the City Edition jerseys. Now let's give them their credit. Let's watch the promo and see what these are all about.
In 1917, Chicago introduced this symbol. Yeah, you know it. The municipal Y splashed across our buildings and bridges. A representation of the meeting point between the Chicago River's three branches. And now, to our team. 5 lines for each player on the court. And a new, rusty red to match the Chicago River's bridges. The 2022 City Edition jersey pays homage to Chicago's past while we write its next chapter.
Okay. Have you seen the City jersey yet?
I mean, that was my first time seeing them.
Oh, well,
yeah.
it looks like that.
Very similar.
Yeah,
Similar,
there's
right?
DeMar with his on right now. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. It's this one.
I mean, so it looks like they have.
I'm gonna go back to this, but does it not look like this?
Yeah, no, it's almost yeah, exact replica almost.
So
That's
here it is. Let's
okay,
go
right?
through
Because
it.
I wanted to get a zoom in look on it because you can tell
Here
that
it
the
is. Yeah,
details.
so
Right, so I saw that picture, the one with DeMar and Zach sitting down. I
so it's
did see
almost
that,
like
but
it's like
you got
they
it.
wanted to rip off an Adidas stripe on the side or something.
Yeah, man, like those details are very very minute. I mean, they didn't change a whole lot if you ask me. Like, cause you gotta look really closely to even see that pattern in the white portion of the jersey. I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's solid, but it doesn't pop really. I mean, and you got the stripes, but I mean,
yeah, they actually asked Vooch last night what he thought about it, and then that's what he said.
Hey, yo, I took that same picture, Marcus. When I was halfway watching the game, I was doing something, but then I glanced up and I saw this, but they hurried up and switched away from that.
Right? Of course they did.
They switched away from it real quick. I rewinded. I'm like, wait, did he just give somebody the finger?
The ref.
That was the ref. Yeah, because they called him on some BS call. Yeah. The refs were just incredible last game. But yeah, that was hilarious.
Okay, so let's get into P.Will. I'm still on this P.Will haters club. I'm saying we should have traded him this summer. I'm sorry, we should have. I hate getting on his case, but I'm having a hard time understanding what the problem is. He's improving in certain areas, yes. I feel like he really isn't living up to the Paw nickname at all. We treat him and we pay him like he's something special, but for that same money that we pay him, I could go get another Derek Jones Jr. or another Javonte Green or somebody like that that's going to hustle and sky when they need to. I think at this point what was Utah? What was the thing for Gobert? They wanted P.Will, right, and a draft pick.
Yeah, supposedly.
And we just didn't want to give it up. And maybe Kobe White.
I'm pretty sure they would have had to give up more than just Pat Williams and one first round pick and Kobe White. And looking at what they did get for him, I think they would have definitely wanted more. But regarding Pat Williamson, man, all right, let me put it like this, because I was just thinking about this earlier. Looking at Lauri Markkanen, I have to. Looking at Lauri Markkanen, granted, it's early in the season. He's putting up all-star numbers right now in Utah. I then also look at Wendell Carter Jr. over in Orlando. He's making strides as a player, even coming off of what he did last season. He was probably the best player on Orlando last year.
Both products of Jim Boylan. Let's say that.
Yeah, fair enough. But follow me. Also, when I think about a guy like, and this is, minuscule in comparison to the last two, but Doug McDermott. And the reason I bring him up is because he's a solid rotational piece in the NBA right now. Like, he's a shooter and he's coveted. Like, there are people that actually want him. I believe that Indiana could get a first round pick for him if they really wanted to. I also think about Jimmy Butler. So, and look at what he's going to become. He's a superstar right now. Or at least as soon as he left the Chicago Bulls, he developed as a superstar. So what I'm saying all this to say is, are us as Bulls fans, are we too impatient? Do we not allow our product to develop long enough? I mean, because we've had quite a few players and more than the four I just named, but that have gone off and have maintained their stay in the league. And not only that, but they've grown after leaving the Bulls. So, I mean, I don't know. I get exactly where you're coming from, because, you and I agree on that. We clown them all the time. But like I said, as I was doing some thinking earlier, it just made me think, like, damn, are we a little bit too impatient? Because Pat, he does show signs. I mean, he shows signs that he can be a pretty decent player, but
isn't every team guilty of that? Isn't the Lakers, aren't they guilty of that with both Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso?
Fair enough. Then I guess you got to put it on the front offices then. I mean, because then maybe just the league in general is maybe a little bit too impatient with some of these guys.
You could say that about Pop with DeRozan, and the Spurs. They let him go.
Well, I think with that, Pop, that was smart, if you ask me. They knew they weren't.
Let him grow. I get it.
I mean, but yeah, that's just my thinking, man. I mean, what do you feel about that? Do you? Well, like you were saying, many teams do that, right? But I mean, I don't know.
Okay,
I
so
focus more so on
here's my thing, man.
Yeah,
you got one more year of DeRozan left. One. Then what? You gonna resign him? For what? Or what? Who else is available in the league at that time that you can get? You gonna get AD? Who are you gonna get?
Huh. That's a topic. That's a hot topic right now, right?
So, like, the reason I'm on P.Will is because the clock is ticking and we're wasting time with this guy in our window. Lonzo's got what? 1 year. He's got what? 2 years left. This year's going to be a half a year. Next year will be his rebound year, so to speak. And then there's probably a player option at the fourth year, I'm guessing.
So I like where this is going. I like the rabbit hole because this also makes me think. If that's the case, when we talk about the Bulls' window and us being on the clock in terms of our star players' timeline, then I feel like what are the Chicago Bulls anyway? I mean, what is the plan? Seriously, like,
right.
what is our plan? You know what I'm saying? Because I honestly, me personally, I do not see this team currently constructed. I don't see us as a championship team. Just in comparison to the Milwaukees, in comparison to the Phillies, although they're having their issues right now. But nonetheless, I mean, in general, Boston.
Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a look,
Cleveland.
Man. Yeah. So let's look at a couple of things. This is just a basic, and I got to enlarge this a little bit so I can see it. Okay, so this is right now the East, and let me change the background there a little bit. The East is basically Milwaukee, Cleveland, Boston, Atlanta, Toronto, and the Bulls at 6 and 7. Okay, then you got the Knicks, the Wizards, Sixers, Pacers, Nets, Heat. Jimmy Butler, the superstar, a 4 and 7 team.
Yeah.
Then you got Detroit and Orlando. We mentioned Wendell Carter Jr. Not doing too great.
So
250 record along with the Hornets.
The one team that I'm looking at where I think is not going to stand pat in their position where they are now is Philly. I see Philly climbing up. I mean, you got to think of how last year played out, right? The Bulls were the number one team in the East all the way up until All-Star break. And you talk about by the closer to the end of the season, we were damn near play-in team. So that's how quickly things can change. And when I look at Philly, I think with Joel Embiid over there himself, not to mention the growth of Tyrese Maxey. I know James Harden isn't, the James Harden of yesterday, but nonetheless, he's still a pretty decent player. I just think that they're having growing pains right now. And I see them more so knocking the Bulls out of that 6th spot, and the Bulls more so being more likely in that 7th or 8th spot, realistically.
Okay, I mean, so I also see Atlanta doing their typical nosedive midway through the season. Can Toronto hold what they've got? I don't know. Knicks, they'll fall. I like
Toronto, man. I do.
Knicks will fall. Wizards will fall. Brooklyn will rise. Miami will rise. It's just a matter of time. So let's take a look at the West and see what's going on over there. So the West, Lowry and the Utah Jazz are 10 and 3. Then you got Phoenix, Portland, Denver, Memphis, Dallas.
Let's get that pick, baby. Let's go, Portland. Hey, I'm rooting for Portland every game.
Yep. It's just if they make the playoffs, right? We get their pick.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, Memphis 8 and 4. They're gonna rise. Ja's having a year. Dallas, Luka's doing his thing. He's probably the most underrated MVP candidate this year, I would say. Clippers, meh. Pelicans, meh. They're gonna fall once Zion's knees inflammation kicks in midway through the year. Hey, man. He didn't look like the second coming last night. That's for damn sure. Spurs, Wolves, Kings, Warriors at 4-7.
Yeah,
That surprises me, but they'll pull out of that.
they will.
And
Most
Draymond
definitely.
drama. OKC 4-7, Lakers 2-9. I couldn't be happier about
Yeah,
that.
your lovable Lakers, they're gonna end at 15th in the West.
They want it. They want that. They want that pick. They'll get that pick.
No, they don't. No, they don't own their pick this year.
Oh.
It's, New Orleans does.
Oh,
New Orleans owns their pick for this year. Yeah, so they don't have a reason to tank.
Oh, well, in that case,
yeah. Relatively speaking, I don't.
They're
feel
just doing
as
it
bad.
anyway.
Man, they don't have a choice. They're just that bad of a team. And relatively speaking, I don't feel that bad. I feel for the Lakers fans because in comparison to them, we aren't in a bad position at all. Because man, oh man, the Lakers are something else. You know, I was at work the other day.
Yeah.
And there was this guy that was in the store who he was talking to me about what the Bulls need and everything, right? And he said that he thought that we needed more help at the point position. And his suggestion was that the Bulls should go and get Russell Westbrook. The man said Russell Westbrook, and I instantly shot it down.
I heard that for Vooch. I heard that about to do that with Vooch. And
what with Vooch? To trade Vooch?
To trade Vooch, yeah. Yeah.
Why would we do? He's probably our second best player right now, man.
No, I get it. I'm just trying to tell you that was the outcry that I heard yesterday, which was if we're gonna get Westbrook, the trade would center around Vooch.
No, that would be retarded. Hell no. And that's why I say I shot that down really, really quickly. And I don't know. I guess some fans are just casual fans and they don't really watch like actual basketball and like on court product. But look at what Russ has done to LA, man. And I mean, there's no slight against Russ, like on a personal tip, because
would you want him on the Bulls? Would you want him on the Bulls? What if it was?
No.
If it was like Lonzo Ball and Vooch straight out, and LA gives us a future pick.
Oh, these picks that everybody wants. Would I take Russ and their pick for Vooch and Zoe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes. Most definitely I would. But that just would mean that they're blowing it up then. And honestly speaking, I mean, going back to the question that I posed earlier, what is the Bulls' plan? Because honestly, we are not a championship team right now. I honestly don't see the Bulls winning the championship with the roster as it's currently constructed. So
right,
I would much rather.
That was my question. What's our window?
Over. Yeah, I get it. I am happy that the Bulls. Like last year was a breath of fresh air. It was super fun. It was dope. But I'm also in the business of winning championships, man. I want to win the championship. I want to get back to that feeling that we had in 2011. You know what I'm saying? Back 2010 and all that, where they were actually talking about us around the clock on ESPN and every other sports station. Like we were always in Vegas. We were always one of the top teams that was said to have chances to win the championship. I want to get back to that. You know what I'm saying? But no one's actually afraid of the Bulls right now.
No, even New Orleans. So in case anybody caught it on Twitter, I did put myself out there as far as being in the Anthony Davis deal.
What the?
So nobody. Yeah. So I traded Vooch, Kobe, Dalen Terry, Bradley, and Marco for me and Anthony Davis on the Bulls. I think the trade machine took it. So anyway, okay. So let's scoot on over to the next.
Would you hold on real quickly? Last question. Would you actually would you realistically want Anthony Davis on this team right now?
If I could get rid of Kobe White last year on his deal, Vooch last year on his deal, Who else did I jokingly have in there? Tony Bradley last year on his deal.
Of course.
Dalen Terry, rookie in the G League. Seminovich, G League. What am I giving up here?
So So this would be what you would be willing to give up. Would you throw in the first?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You would.
Sure.
Right. So that's something that I was.
And
also
I haven't even.
I
didn't even get rid of P.Will in this scenario.
Right. I saw. And I'm with you there because honestly, like, so I would take Anthony Davis.
They would
but
never
it would be
do it. Are you kidding me?
Dude, he never plays.
With them.
He never plays. Anthony Davis is not worth that much, if you ask me.
No, he's not. I don't want him.
What the Jazz got for Rudy Gobert, or hell, even what the Spurs got for DeJounte Murray. If you ask me, Anthony Davis is not worth all of that because he can never stay on the court. This dude plays like 40 games every season? What? We're taking all the risk.
Yeah.
Like they will actually have an upgrade in getting Vooch and Kobe White, who can actually shoot. Dalen Terry, like, no. So
during the break in the show that you and I had, there was a moment where they were talking about this was before we got Vooch, about getting Andre Drummond. Do you recall this?
Yeah.
And they were like, we're gonna get him. And then he didn't sign, and everybody's like, well, we're not gonna get anybody. But what happened? This year we got him on the cheap.
Yeah. Right? He was asking for too much money initially.
Right. So same with AD. If you want AD to come back home into Chicago, let him finish his bag in LA. Let him go take some minimum vet deal on a trade somewhere else. And then after that doesn't work out, come on back. That's it. Like D Rose, like I think go get your money in New York and then come on back home. Do one last year. One last year.
And man, D Rose is like my favorite player all time. I can't lie. And yeah, I would love to have D Rose back in Chicago.
D Rose, Zach LaVine,
ended his career here. Yeah, man. That would be a story. That would be a really nice story. But on the AD tip, man, I don't know. I said it before, and it looks like that's what's going on now because I honestly could see the Bulls realistically. Like Arturas and Eversley are so quiet. Like you never know what they're going to do. So it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to just pop up one day and you get a notification on your phone that says Anthony Davis headed to Chicago. That could be very likely dealing with the front office that we have right now. But like I said, it's contingent on what we give up because I said it before. I don't want AD when he's all broken up and he's basically just a jump shooting guy who can't really bang. He already doesn't like to play center. I mean, he's a shell of himself almost. He's still putting up numbers, but I look at the value. Like, is he creating W's? And obviously, so let me not.
Here's something that I'm gonna bring up that is gonna crack the theory. Okay, and I know we love D Rose. I know we love Io. I know we love all these Chicago guys. But every time these Chicago guys come back, it doesn't mean jack for us. D Wade came back. What did that do? Nothing. Made us $27 million. Yeah, $27 million lighter, and he just went back home to Miami anyway. That was his home. That was his homecoming, not here.
That's funny. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. That's very true.
And so here's the other question: is what situation in the NBA has the hometown kid come back and won it for his team? Is there any?
LeBron James.
Okay, one.
That's it. I think
one.
I think that's
in all of sports.
It. LeBron in Cleveland.
Think about the Chicago championships. Did anybody?
Candace Parker last year with the Sky.
Okay.
I mean,
well, that's barely a sport, but.
What? What? Oh man, you bogus.
Come on, you gotta have crowd, and you gotta be on TV for that. Come on. Anyway,
Oh, you a trip, Marcus.
uh, I can't watch that. I can't. That's.
They're
Tell me you
solid,
what?
man.
Tell me you watched an entire game of the WNBA. The entire game.
I have. I
Oh,
actually have, man. Yeah. No, I actually have sat and watched 4 games of WNBA. Now, granted, only the Sky games. I've never watched any other teams, but I mean, I'm a homer, man. So, and like,
okay.
there are a lot of those women out there that can actually ball, like legit.
Okay.
They can actually
So,
ball.
okay. So really, Candace Parker is the only one that's done it for Chicago, right? That's it.
Yes. Yeah.
The Bulls championship years, nobody was from Chicago on those teams. None of those guys were from Chicago.
Mm-mm.
Cubs, Sox, none of those guys were Chicago guys. They didn't come from here. Blackhawks, Tays, and the other guy, they didn't come from. They're from Canada. They didn't come from here. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So I love the fairy tale, and it's nice
Listen,
because
it's overrated. Like it's not.
I think.
realistic.
Do you think it's because secretly we all think that we're on the court as fans? Do you think that's it? Like that lives out that stupid fantasy in our head that we're good enough to be that?
I mean, in a way, possibly, yeah. In a way, maybe that can be a bit it. But I also look at it like how you just love your own team, like how you love your own whatever team, whether it be baseball, football, basketball. You
Okay.
root for your team, and you look at those players who come from the same city that you come from, and you just want to root for them because you feel like they're one of you. They're from the home, they're like your brother or your sister. So you automatically want to root for somebody who comes from where you come from. I think that's more so what it is. I mean, at least that's how I looked at it. Like when D Rose went, and let me tell you,
Okay.
when D
Tell
Rose
me.
went to the league as a kid from the east side of Chicago, southeast side of Chicago, when D Rose went to the league, and I played basketball in high school. I actually played against D Rose in high school. I went to Percy Hill
Yeah.
Jr. And when bro went to the league, it felt like he opened up the doors for, just the regular kid from the streets, like who comes from the gutter. Like
I hear you.
it made it feel like you could actually do it, because a lot of us had never seen, like we didn't know Juwan Howard. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Juwan Howard, Chicago product. Benny, he didn't make it because of an unfortunate, incident where he was killed. And I mean, D-Wade, like social media wasn't popping like that. And D-Wade, I don't know what part of Chicago he was from, but he wasn't really like in it. D Rose from Inglewood, he's from the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like you saw D Rose out here hooping in the park and everything. So that's what made it so huge for us kids who grew up like D Rose. And I think that's part of like why I'm such a huge fan of Derrick Rose, because I mean, I legit like watched him close up in person, and I saw his growth. So it was just very inspiring.
Did you see that? And I don't want to play it because LeBron's face is in it. But did you see that clip of the barbershop where he's talking about the injuries? Derrick Rose was talking about to LeBron about how the media was all pissed off at him about coming back, and then the front office was fueling it, and he basically went into the front office and was like, why are you fueling this? Why are you doing this? I'm working hard and you're doing this to me.
Yeah.
And I guess a month later is when they traded him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's sad, right? Because look at how the league is going now, where low management is a real thing. But a decade ago, you were frowned upon if you weren't playing. You know what I'm saying? Especially by the Bulls organization letting out that information that the doctors cleared Derrick Rose to play. But you can't tell like Kawhi Leonard now. I mean, like you can't tell a player when they're ready to go, because it's psychological. You know what I'm saying? And
we didn't do that with Lonzo Ball this time around. He
because they
spent
can't.
probably how much time? That's a great question to figure out right now. How much time did Derrick Rose take out for his injury? A full year, right? That was the Nate Robinson season. A full year and then a couple games when he came back. Okay, so Lonzo Ball would have to sit out this entire year to be in that same scenario. Wouldn't you be screaming about this afterwards? I mean, he's had now 2 surgeries, but when does Lonzo deserve the Derrick Rose treatment?
He never does, man. He never does. No, I wouldn't say that, because you got to think about it for these guys, you know, personally. Like, a lot of them play the game because they love the game. And looking at Derrick Rose now and how, you know, he had to completely shift the way that he played the game. You know, he's not himself anymore. And thankfully, you know, he wasn't like, you know, other guys like, who would I say whose game had to completely change? It doesn't matter. But Derrick Rose found peace in his relegation, or what word am I looking for? Never mind. Anyway, but
in his
he found
resolve
peace
in what he did. Yeah.
Exactly. He knew that he had to change his game, and you know, he found out how to make himself a better player within this new style. And when I look at Lonzo Ball, I mean, he's still a very, very young player. He still has a lot of game ahead of him, right? And I don't necessarily want to rush him back just for the sake of us trying to make it to the playoffs. Not necessarily winning a championship. We're just trying to make it to the playoffs. I mean, no, I wouldn't be mad at him. I don't think he deserves the Derrick Rose treatment, because none of us know what he's going through personally. I don't think he does not want to be on the court. Hooper's hoop, man. Like, Lonzo Ball wishes he was out there on the court. So if he's not playing, it's for a real reason.
All right, well, let me get on something that I am a little pissed off about, and that is our state of the Bulls. And I think the blame falls squarely on Billy. I wish I could blame it all on P.Will, but the truth is the coaching decisions in the fourth quarter have been super questionable. Back in Oklahoma City, Billy was famous for not calling timeouts when other teams were making these big scoring runs. The inbound plays that we've seen lately, and just the one just even yesterday, have been so sloppy, seemingly just unplanned in terms of play calling. In the press conference, I wish I had a clip of this. Billy actually said, "Oh, well, we were going to adjust after we found out who was going to get the ball on the inbound." Oh, come on, guys. Who are we running the play to? This isn't just some like choose your own adventure book. This is a play. In the fourth quarter, it seems like we're clearing out for DeMar to do ISO ball while everybody else just perches like a bird around the third 3-point line, just waiting for DeMar to get triple teamed and force the ball out, or wait for him to take a shot so they can just sit there and slap him a high five on the way back. In close games, the Bulls have had no clear heart to get ahead and finish these opponents out in the closing 5 minutes of the game. They keep letting them back in. And guess what? The Bulls, in a game that's decided by 5 points or less, are 0-5. Yeah. We cannot beat anybody, and that is 40% of our games. If we had the heart and the balls, as I must say, to close out these games, that's at least, let's just say, 4 more games that we would have won. Let's just say 5 of those games. Our record right now, at 4 of them, would be 10-3. That's the same right behind the Bucks, and the same one that the Utah Jazz has, that Utah's talking about, would be the Utah Jazz. Everybody be talking about the 10-3 Bulls right now if they just had some heart. And I think that falls right on Billy, right on really terrible fourth quarter coaching. Lonzo Ball could return tonight, and it wouldn't matter because we'd still blow it in the fourth quarter. What do you think?
Yeah, those are some takes right there, man. That's deep. So I will say this. I agree with you on the fact that Billy Donovan fails to adjust. So I was looking at that the first or the game in Toronto, right, where they just completely shut down DeMar DeRozan. Like DeMar was getting trapped every time he brought the ball up to the half court line. By the
Yeah.
time he hit half court line, he was trapped. And that wore him down. It caused a lot of turnovers. It didn't allow the offense to be set. And Toronto did it like literally every single play. Literally
Yeah,
every
they
single
had
play.
it.
And Billy failed to do something about it. Why he continued to allow that to go on, it was I was just scratching my head about that because I'm like, dude, try something else. You have Ayo Dosunmu, you have Dragic, who can they're decent enough ball handlers. Granted, DeMar's our best, but those two guys are serviceable. So take the ball out of his hand since they keep trapping him and allow one of the other guys to bring the ball up. And I don't know, like use DeMar like Detroit used to use Rip. You know what I'm saying? Have him come off screens because they obviously were focusing on him. They're like, we're gonna force your role players to beat us. DeMar is not gonna beat us, right? So I feel like, and obviously I'm no coach. I could not do a job as Billy Donovan. So I'm not trying to sit here and sound condescending, but I'm just saying like he failed to try anything different. And I think if he had just at least, put DeMar in a better position, like having him come off screens and shoot that midi that he loves, instead of having him, set the offense and everything like that, I think it would have looked a whole lot better because he's automatic for mid-range, right? And he wouldn't have been doubled as much if he was just in a catch and shoot situation. But not only that, what else? It was another.
Well, let me break something down. Let me break something down about Billy. Okay, in this Pelicans game, 5 minutes left to play. 5 minutes left to play. We got a 4-point lead. The Bulls could have stepped on their necks and got it done. Instead, they yanked out Patrick Williams out of the game. Okay, P.Will had a block and 4 steals in 26 minutes. He was on Zion. Okay, and Brandon Ingram. He held Brandon Ingram to 2 for 6. 2 for 6.
Yeah.
And then he took out P.Will and put Caruso on BI. And then BI got 6 for 8, 13 points down the stretch. And that's what sealed it.
So he went for like
2 for when he was guarded. Yeah, so he was 2 for 6 when P.Will guarded him.
As opposed to paying attention to the game, the flow of the game, because you're right. Patrick Williams, while he wasn't that great offensively, he actually had a pretty solid game defensively. And I think he was the best player out there on their wings, like Zion, like Brandon Ingram. He did guard those guys the best. But like you said, once Billy, for whatever reason, I mean, like I said, I think he was going more so for like the on paper better defensive player or whatever.
Yeah, P.Will had 7 points at that point in the game.
Yeah, but like you said, once Caruso got in there and he was then guarding Zion, you got Alex Caruso guarding Zion and Brandon Ingram, who was 6'10". I mean, that's when he really went off. That's when they really went off. Instead of Billy recognizing, like, all right, who has the hot hand for us right now defensively? And clearly that was Patrick Williams. Like, he definitely was the Bulls' best defender on those two guys specifically. But who also killed us in that game? Valanciunas.
Yeah.
He torched Vooch. He absolutely torched Vooch. Like, through the first 3 quarters, Valanciunas could not miss. And Brandon Ingram and Zion, they basically just took it home. But, yeah, man, and all throughout that game, DeMar was for those refs needed their asses kicked.
That was terrible. That whole game was terrible.
I don't know what the refs was on. Did you see the first play of the game when Patrick Williams got a block, I believe it was, got down to the other end of the court and was about to dunk it, and then Herb Jones clearly hits no ball at all, smacked his elbow, and they failed to call the foul.
Yeah.
They did not make the call. I mean, so
and he still didn't put it in either. I mean, come on, dude. If you hear footsteps behind you, you jam that thing.
But that's the thing though. Like, so he tried to dunk it. I don't know why he didn't go with 2, but he tried to dunk it, but he smacked his forearm. His forearm, so it threw his shot off. But the refs, they made many missed calls, or they would give the other team very ticky-tack calls, and that's what was pissing off DeMar so much. DeMar got a tech in the game. He got a technical foul call in the game. He probably would have had 2 if they didn't want to, get beat up leaving the stadium. I mean, but yeah, it was really the refs play a huge role in this game. I mean, Zach, he kind of went a little bit cold in the clutch. I didn't like the jumpers that he was taking that were very well contested. I mean, Zach, he looked pretty decent throughout the first 3 quarters, and he was knocking down shots at a decent clip. But I don't know, he got a little trigger happy down in the clutch time. And it was just bad, man. It was bad because the Bulls could have definitely won this game. And that turnover too, like you mentioned earlier, that turnover by DeMar when they was down 3, I think it was like 20 seconds to go or something on the inbounds play.
Yeah,
the ball went off with DeMar's foot. So, but I also attributed that to DeMar. His energy was just off, man, and I think that was because of the refs. He was too frustrated.
Yep. So that's one of them actually that we did not predict. You and I did not put that game in our predictions. This week, the Celtics and Toronto helped me pull even with you, man, in terms of our predictions. So
I'm on a roll.
We're back to no. You lost 2. You lost 2. You were up 2, and now I got 2. And
what's 2 games?
One of the Torontos, and
I won 1.
Celtics. Yeah, we both picked the Toronto win.
No, but I picked the Celtics was gonna beat them. Because the Bulls beat them the first time, and I was like, the Celtics aren't gonna go for another game. They're not gonna get beat twice in a row. I picked the Celtics, man. Yeah.
I'll have to replay the tape because I got you down for an L, and I actually have P Kid.
I don't know what you heard, bro.
Game.
I don't know what you heard. No,
okay.
I picked the Celtics.
All right, next Bulls podcast 63. We're gonna have a coach's challenge on that, and we'll replay that for our folks at home.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what we got coming up. We'll review the stats. We have all season to figure out who's gonna win this one. Okay, so let's pick games coming up here. We've got Sunday
Ricky. I saw that too, bro.
13th. Oh, what's up, Ricky?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Ricky saying
he was talking about how Vooch, when Vooch flipped off the refs.
Yeah, that is going to be a constant meme for us forever. I'm gonna strip. I'm stripping the background out of this. I'm gonna clarify it, enhance it. I'm gonna do all kinds of stuff. So yes, Ricky, thank you so much. Okay, so Sunday, November 13th, we got a good stretch of rest in between all these games, which is nice. So Bulls versus Nuggets in Chicago. Your old pal Michael Porter Jr., hopeful Bull that never happened. I'm saying this is going to be an L. I think Denver's going to beat us. What do you think?
You know what? I'll take Chicago in this one.
All right, good.
I'll take Chicago and Denver.
Good, because I need a spread here. I need some wins. Okay, we got Wednesday, November 16th, Bulls in New Orleans. I think it's going to be a dub. I don't think we're going to let that mistake happen again. And I think P.Will is actually going to do some offense this time. What do you got?
I agree. I think Billy Donovan will adjust in that game.
And then Friday, Wendell Carter Jr. and the Orlando Magic will be heading to Chicago. Right now, their record pretty much sucks. But I actually am going to predict a loss.
Oh, that's a hot one. No, I'm going to W. They better not lose that game. They let me down versus the Spurs. I expected that to be in a bag. But yeah, I'm going to
I think what's going to happen is they're going to be high off that win in New Orleans. And something weird's going to happen. I'm just predicting something weird.
The Rook gonna get him.
Load management. I don't know. Then we got Monday, the 21st, Bulls versus the Celtics in the United Center. I'm saying dub on that one.
Bulls versus Celtics, W. Man. Celtics are rolling, man. But we do play them really, really well. For whatever reason, they are afraid of DeMar. DeMar gets up to play Boston. But I got to go with L. I'm going to go with an L.
Okay. All right. We're getting a good spread between us here. So this is going to this is our week here to determine who's going to be the comeback king.
Yeah.
All right. And then Wednesday, the 23rd, we're talking Bulls in Milwaukee versus the Bucks. And I'm saying L.
Yeah. No brainer.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Okay. That's pretty much going to do it for the Bulls podcast for this episode. So, guys, some of the things that we can expect this week in terms of
you went out for a little bit, Marcus. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, anything in terms of your perspective of the Bulls, anything that you're looking forward to this week, news-wise or otherwise, in terms of the Bulls?
I'm just looking for Billy Donovan, like we were mentioning earlier. I'm hoping that he corrects some of his mistakes that he's made in these over the past couple weeks, I should say. And I think that he needs to put the right players on the floor, and I think he needs to make better adjustments more so. But yeah, I think in this past week, the Bulls' losses can be attributed, by pretty much of a wide margin to Billy Donovan, if you ask me.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Wise, where can they find you on social media?
You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at radical_creator. That's also, you can catch me on YouTube too at just Wise Black, WISE Black.
All right. You can find me at Marcus Couch on Twitter, Facebook, all the other stuff. You can find the show at Bulls Podcasts. Remember, help us out. Subscribe on YouTube. Throw a thumbs up at us. We really like that stuff, and it really is going to help out. We've got a number of guests and things that are coming up booked on the show. Fred says he wants to do it on a Friday or Saturday. I'm like, Fred, no. You got to come to us, buddy. So see Red Fred maybe later in the year. Who knows? But anyway, got a lot of people coming up, and that's going to do it for this episode of the Bulls Podcast. Until next time, go Bulls.
Go Bulls. Hey, shout out to my boy Ricky Fontaine, too, man. We appreciate you kicking it with us.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody.